Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan Aldridge and I'm a writer and a proofreader. I post videos on Tuesdays about bookish things, writing advice, grammar, and more, and occasionally I post bonus videos on Fridays. Currently, I'm working on my debut novel, which is a dark fantasy historical romance entitled Queendom of Chaos. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different for my channel, and I'm going to be trying out a book tag. This is the Can't Say I Didn't Try book tag, and I will link all the questions and information down below. Question number 1 is a book that you should have DNF'd. For me, that book is Fairest of All. This book has all the makings of a book that I should totally love, but it fell really short. This book is about how the evil queen from Snow White becomes evil. So a little bit about the book. The tale of a young princess, Snow White, and her evil stepmother, the Wicked Queen, is widely known. Despite a few variations from telling to telling, the story remains the same. The queen was jealous of the girl's beauty, and this jealousy culminated in the queen's attempt on the sweet, naive girl's life. Another tale far less often spoken of is the one that explains what caused the queen to become so vile. So it sounds really, really interesting and like something that I would really love. But what it does is spend most of the book showing the backstory of the queen before she even meets Snow White. And it's about her growing up and then eventually marrying the king. Everything seems to be going well and things might kind of slowly be turning, but not really. And before we get to the point of where the queen turns evil, we jump ahead in the timeline by, I think it's a year or something. And then after the time jump, she's evil. And I'm like, wasn't this book about how she became evil? Not that she was good and then she was bad and then skipped everything in the middle. I don't know. For me, this just fell so short. I feel like they glossed over what the book was supposed to be about. And jumping over the why, the whole reason that you pick up the book, I think is a real disservice to people. I read the whole thing hoping it would get better, but after the time jump, I should have just stopped. Question number 2 is the most books you've read without finishing a series. I think that number is just 1. I can usually tell pretty quickly if I'm going to enjoy a series or not, and I don't think I've ever read one where I got really invested in the first few books and then it was really bad, so I think just 1. Number 3 is a hyped author you just can't get along with. For me, that would be Rowell. I just can't get into the books and they kind of bore me. Number 4, a genre you rarely read from. That would be nonfiction. I feel like a lot of the times there's this weird style and humor where the author's trying to be funny, but they're really not funny. So I tend to stick to fiction books to keep more with like the storytelling narrative, and it avoids a lot of these really cheesy, forced jokes and clearly made up scenarios that are in the nonfiction books. Number 5 is the most elusive book, a book or edition you can't get your hands on. So it's not that I can't get my hands on this book, but it's that the format that I want doesn't exist. The book is Salt to the Sea, and I really want the hardback version in paperback, but they don't make it, which makes me sad. Number 6 is a book or author that keeps getting recommended to you, but you know you wouldn't enjoy. So I grew up in the Twilight era, but I never actually read the books. I did see the movies with a friend of mine, but I did not enjoy them. I feel like even now people my age will ask, and they always say,
"Oh, well, the books are so much better than the movies. You should try them."
And I'm like, no. Number 7 is a book which has a better cover in a different language. So I don't really know how to answer this question. I don't really pay attention to books in other languages because I don't speak other languages, so I stick to the English version. So I'm going to change this question to a book cover that was updated to be much worse than the original cover. For me, hands down, 100% is the Hunger Games trilogy. So let's take a look at the original beautiful cover. The Hunger Games. Simple, but awesome. And now let's look at what they did. Look at this. Why? I'm really not sure what they were thinking with these covers, but they're terrible. They couldn't clash more just the covers themselves clash. But then what's inside the books has nothing to do with these weird neon, almost graffiti looking books. And it makes them look really old and really cheesy instead of the amazing books that we all know that they are. I hate them. Number 8 is a book that you've only seen the movie or TV adaptation of. I'm going to go with Lord of the Rings for this one. I read The Hobbit in 7th grade. I did not enjoy reading the book. And then later I watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy and I loved it. So then I gave the Hobbit movies a chance and I really love those ones too. But based on my reading of The Hobbit and my remembrance of the scenario of how much I hated it, I don't know. I might go back and reread The Hobbit. I want to give Lord of the Rings a chance and see if I feel any differently about him. Number 9 is a book you would not watch if it got adapted to movie or TV. Hands down, that book, Fangirl by Rowell. I found this book to be incredibly boring, and I feel like none of the characters' growth came until like the last 2 pages of the book. And even then, it didn't even really feel like growth. I know that this is like a coming-of-age story. It just didn't deliver for me. I would not want to sit through this in a theater. Number 10 is a series that should not have been continued. For me, I read the first book, and I didn't bother with the rest because the first one was so bad. That book is Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve. I didn't like the book, and I didn't like the movie. This is still a genre that I love, but this book falls short on just about everything. And honestly, I couldn't believe that there's an entire series of these terrible books. The characters were boring, the plot was overdone and boring, and almost none of this was memorable. And number 11, a trope that will keep you from picking up a book. If the male MC is absolutely incapable of showing any emotion whatsoever, but we're still supposed to connect with him somehow, I don't really get that. If you don't have any emotion, how am I going to connect with you in any sort of way? So I have a hard time with these sort of books because obviously if I don't connect to the characters, I'm not going to connect to everything else that's going on. So yeah, give your male MCs, emotions like real people have. So that's it for the Can't Say I Didn't Try book tag. Please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more bookish and writing related videos. I post every Tuesday with the possibility of bonus videos on Fridays. Thank you for being here and I'll see you next time. Bye.